The man had just begged for some money and rushed to the bus station to buy a ticket. When he pulled out all his savings, the ticket seller regretfully informed him that the bus was out of service. This news shattered the man. He then stood in front of the map, realizing that his destination was 200 kilometers away. Still, he made a bold decision, squatted down, tied his shoelaces, and set off on his long journey. No matter how far it was, he was determined to reach the end. If he got hot, he would take off his jacket. If he got tired, he would rest against the wall.
You okay?
When the girl heard that Mark was going to a place 200 kilometers away, she admired his courage and asked why he didn't wait for the bus to run again. Mark, feeling heavy-hearted, replied that he couldn't wait. The person he wanted to see might not be able to hold on for that long. The girl then asked who that person was. Mark said that person wasn't really important to him, that he hadn't seen them in over 20 years, but he still had to go back, because this might be his last chance in this life, and if he didn't arrive in time, he would never find redemption. The girl seriously told Mark that one should never compete with their closest ones, nor should they make things hard for themselves, no matter how big the conflict. It would gradually dissolve with time. She then gave Mark her bread and water. After thanking her, hungry Mark quickly finished the bread and water. After saying goodbye to the girl, he continued on his journey, though he was exhausted from running. The belief in his heart never faded. From day to night, whenever he fell, he would get back up. Finally, through his relentless perseverance, he reached the hospital. Breathless, he said he was there to visit a patient, but the doctor mistook him for a troublesome homeless man. How could a billionaire like John have such a dirty relative? The doctor sharply told him to leave. Mark shouted that he had to see John. Just as the doctor called security, Mark urgently tried to take the elevator to the ward but was restrained by the arriving security. The next moment, he collapsed on the ground. When he woke up, he struggled to find John's ward. Looking at the elderly man in the bed, Mark was immediately overwhelmed with sadness. Before he could sit down, the doctor came over and quietly ordered him to leave. Their argument quickly woke John. After apologizing to him, the doctor attempted to pull Mark out, but John stopped him.
I'm looking for you.
You know this man?
He's my son.
Mark said, I know I must be the last person you want to see. I also know you hate me and will never forgive me. John choked up, saying he had never hated his son, even if he said he hated him. He had never truly felt that way. No parent can hate their child. He asked his son to sit beside him and opened his heart after over 20 years, saying, I regret slapping you on your 18th birthday when you ran away from home. I cried for 3 days because I couldn't find you anywhere. As your father, not giving you a better life is my biggest regret. Mark tightly grasped his father's hand and said, It's all my fault for being immature. I shouldn't have insulted your new wife on my coming of age day. At that time, I thought you were the one who wronged my mother. Many years later, I realized that finding someone to be with you was my mother's wish before she passed. I was too rebellious to understand your feelings. I'm sorry, and I hope we can stop resenting each other. After a heartfelt conversation, the father and son finally reconciled.